Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Many coin developers require extensive infrastructure to maintain day-to-day operations, while hobbyists, investors, and traders require coin developers to do this securely and professionally. We are Spectre Security Coin, building a new kind of decentralized community. Many coin developers require infrastructure to maintain day-to-day operations.
It's that time again, your crypto daily time. So grab a seat, get some coffee, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And now here's your hosts, Red Planet 32 and Johnnyboy Crypto.
Hit the freaking button.
This is the man, Red Planet 32. Oh, man,
Jesus.
yes. This is not an illusion.
Take your hand out of your pants and get this thing going.
This is not an illusion. I'm actually on camera today. And
I
first
thought
time
these
for
guys
everything.
were like
Listen, welcome to the show.
Kind of fapping festival.
Oh, God. We got a great guest on the show tonight. Or this afternoon. I don't know what time zone or whatever you're in. Hey, listen, for all the viewers that are viewing it right now, make sure you do a few things. Make sure you like this channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And make sure you retweet this video out. Because we got none other on the show today. Max freaking Keiser. Now, can you dig that? All right. Listen, this show has been brought to you by X42. Open, fearless, infinite. Check them out, x42.tech. Show's been brought to you by Spectre Security Coin, helping build a better, safer blockchain technology. Listen, you guys, today's going to be great. I hope that you tuned in. We're going a little bit early today. We're going to replay this video a little bit later on at our normal time. We're going to rebroadcast it again for those that are tuning in. But we got Max Keiser. Max Keiser is live with us on YourCryptoDaily live.com. Like us, subscribe. Listen, before we get to them, because I know you guys got questions for those that's tuning in right now. I want us to stand in solidarity of the crypto. Everybody send out a retweet right now. Retweet. Max Keiser is live with YourCryptoDaily.com live. Check us out at YourCryptoDaily.com. Subscribe to the newsletters and all that other beautiful stuff. Listen, let's go through a rundown real quick of the crypto and what's going down in the world of crypto today. And I think we could all be a little happy about what's going on in the crypto world. Be nice if I can get that up on the screen for you guys, all right? What's going on? And there we go. We're going to go down the top 10, right? We got Bitcoin coming in. It's up just under 0.25%. We got Ethereum up. Well, no, it's down almost 1%. XRP, the coin, the whatever it's called, it's down just over 1%. Bitcoin Cash down just under 0.5%. Litecoin down just under 0.5%. Man, still, wish you would have bought that Litecoin coming in at $35 3 weeks ago, right? EOS, it's maintaining down just under 1%. Big Binance Coin. Ooh, could it be the big dog on the block coming up here real soon? Thank you guys for tuning in. For those, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, please. Please hit that like button. We would love you if you do that. And we got Tether, Johnnyboy Crypto's favorite coin, $1.01 maintaining. Stellar.
Wind
Moon. Yeah. Stellar. Down just over 1.5%. Cardano rounding out the top 10, down just under 3%, or just over 3%. And, it looks like Tron's down a little bit. We'll see what happens there, Nimsy. All right. Hey, listen, without any further ado, welcome to the stage, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Keiser. Welcome to Your Crypto Daily Live, sir.
Wow. This is Crypto Daily? Oh, this is my favorite show. This is going to be fantastic. I can hardly wait.
Oh,
awesome.
Man. Hey, listen, man. When this is Red Planet 32.
How's everything happening in Detroit, man?
Everything is a beautiful thing in Detroit, man. It's a beautiful thing.
You know, Crypto Blood's my man. He lives in Detroit.
Okay, yeah, Crypto Blood. He's been
always
on the show.
he's trying to smoke cigars and talk about the Red Wings. You know, he's my man.
Yeah,
Blood.
He's really big on the Red Wings, man, and we're glad to have you on the show ourselves. Shout out to you and what you're doing out there in the crypto world. You know, there's so many different things that surround you as far as swirling stories, if you will. Like, is this dude really like the real Satoshi Nakamoto? And we're gonna address those things here. Because, inquiring minds want to know, right?
I identify as Satoshi. I identify as a black lesbian Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay, that's how I identify myself.
Man, you're killing me. You're killing me early in the afternoon.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with that?
Oh, gracious Lord. We are here live in living color with Mr. Keiser, Max Keiser. I'm familiar with some of your work. I know you've been on shows. One of my favorite guys I used to like to listen to, and he's unfortunate I can't really find his podcast anymore. I guess they're out there. It's just a matter of you finding them. Mr. Alex Jones, I'm familiar with his work there, with your work there, and all that you've done.
Yeah, I'll tell you an interesting story. Now, what's your name again?
My name is Red Planet.
All right, Red Planet. Let me give you a little story there. So, with Alex Jones, when Bitcoin was trading for under $5, I told him, I said, you've got to load up the boat. You've got to put everything you can possibly put into Bitcoin under $5. I told everyone on his network, it's all on his shows. You can all listen to it. Now, just a few months ago or weeks ago, he was saying that he was approached by George Soros, and George Soros tried to get him to buy Bitcoin when it was, cheap, and it's a Soros plot, which is that's him trying to rationalize in his own mind the fact that he could have made 60, 70, 80 million dollars had he simply done what I said to do back in 2011, 2012, in that era. He can't handle it. His brain can't fathom it. So he's built up this incredible theory that has to do with George Soros, which is bogus. Just listen to the shows. Unless I'm George Soros, I don't think I'm George Soros. I don't identify as George Soros. I just told you I don't identify as George Soros.
No, you said. Yeah, man. This is, you know what? We're starting off with a good note early in the day. You're starting our Good Friday off um, in a real good way here. And this is good stuff. And before you go any further, I want to read off just an excerpt from RT.com's Market Finance. Scandal, Keiser report. No holds barred look at the shocking scandals behind global financial headlines. From the collusion between Wall Street, Capitol Hill to the latest banking crime wave, from bogus government economic statistics, rigged stock markets, nothing escapes the eye of Max Keiser, a former stockbroker, inventor of the virtual specialist technology, and co-founder of the Hollywood Stock Exchange. With the help of Keiser's co-host Stacey Herbert and guests from around the world, Keiser reports tells you what is really going on in the global economy. That's from RT.com, your show there. Just to kind of give you an idea for those who are tuning in for the first time, what this man really does and what he's all about. Non-biased views and non-biased outlook on the financial, economic status of the world. So,
You know, Red Planet, of everyone listening right now, you're the one that probably knows my work the least. Everybody listening is saying, what's Red Planet reading this guy's bio for? We've been listening to him for years. We know who it is. Just get to the interview, Red Planet. This is a big waste of time. Who needs all this background stuff? I know how to work Twitter. I know how to go to Wikipedia. What's going on in Detroit? You know, let's get the Renaissance going in Detroit.
You know what?
Bitcoin can rebuild Detroit. You know, I'm all for black reparations. You know, I said when Bitcoin was $10, I said if the black community bought enough Bitcoin, they could buy the white community. That's what I said on my show. You know, I told Tariq Nasheed this on my show. Tariq Nasheed, brother number one out in Los Angeles. I told him this. You know, I'll tell you, Tariq sent me an email when Bitcoin was at 20,000 and asked me, you know, how do I go about buying Bitcoin? I said, Tariq, I told you when it was $10. Now it's too late for the time being. Man. You know, I'm trying to help out the community. You know, I'm doing my part. You know, I'm trying to rebuild this country along lines of harmony, racial harmony.
Hey, listen.
Part of that is making every black man in America rich as fuck.
Oh my God! Listen, what's up, Nunez? Thanks for tuning in, man. Best music, Dryzen. Oh God, we got some newcomers here. Listen, retweet the show. Max Keiser's on YourCryptoDailyLive.com. Listen, I'm all about reprobations. As you can see, I'm a pretty chocolate man here. And, you know, reprobations is always in order, right? But, you know, a lot of folks, powers that be, don't want to hear about that because they think folks are sitting out there for a handout. But I agree with you 100%. I believe the urban community needs to get more involved with cryptocurrency. It's not being taught enough in schools. You know, I run another business outside of what me and Johnnyboy do. And
yeah.
I want to have our 401k set up for our business, for our company.
Yeah, that reminds me, Red Planet, you were a little light on that tray bag from last week.
What do you mean?
You said you're running your other business. I'm saying, yeah, you know, that tray bag you sold me last week.
No, not that business. I'm not that business, Mr. Keiser. Not by any means.
Oh, okay. Wait,
hey,
sorry,
listen.
I got you confused with somebody. Wait a minute, are we live? Oh,
yeah, we're live. We're definitely live. And, I definitely don't.
All right.
I'm not gonna. Hey, listen. If I was in that business, it wouldn't be a tray bag. It would be something a lot more generous than that. Yes. But,
I didn't mean to bust you like that on the air. Like, I'm sorry.
Hey, listen. We got enough problems with the government listening on our shows and trying to shut us down while we're on air.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, what do you think the future is right now for cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin, because it's the daddy of everything, right? The daddy, the mother. You know, that new age family household type deal. What do you think the future is for this thing? Because some people don't think it's really going to be around long. But I beg to differ. And I know there's a lot of people that feel the same way like we do here on the show.
Look, okay, let's look at the historical context here. So, the Bitcoin, when it was launched in 2009, after the white paper was published in 2008, this was after many years of what are called the cypherpunks and other computer scientists who were involved with encryption, trying to come up with a digital gold. And if you read Satoshi's work, if you read the white paper, if you read his blog posts, his chat posts, this idea of digital gold came up often. So in 2009, it was launched, and that was really at the height of the global financial crisis. And even in the Genesis block, there's a reference to the Chancellor of the Exchequer in the United Kingdom bailing out banks for a second time. So clearly there was a recognition of the fact that banks and central banks are, not to put too fine a point on it, but let's say that they are the enemy. So Bitcoin comes around, and over the following 10 years, we know the story. It has gotten worldwide adoption. It's growing. It's got this incredible legion of support. And now we're heading into, in the year 2019, 2020, we're heading into another global financial crisis, similar to what we had in 2008. It's a continuation of what we had in 2008. And at this time, Bitcoin is up and running, and you will see a mass exodus out of the fiat world, out of the banking system, out of the central banking system into Bitcoin. That's where we get this huge move from 5,000 or 5,300, where it is today, up to the, what my target since 2011 has always been 100,000 per coin. And it's driven by bank failure, fiat currency failure, and necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention. Bitcoin was invented because it's needed, because we live in a world of fiat money, and that fiat money is highly destructive in a number of different ways. So the next leg of this global financial crisis is really starting to kick in right now. And so right now is when we'll see the next big bull market move in Bitcoin.
Interesting. So you think the bulls are coming for sure?
Oh, well, without it, my long-term target of 100,000 is still in place. I haven't changed that. The only question is timing, but I mean, it's on such a annualized rate of return tear that to try to time it is it's a moot point, really, because when you look at the returns over almost any period of time, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, they beat everything else really in the world as an asset class. So we're going to get there. I think the timing, that's not changed. I still feel that. I've been bullish since day one when I started recommending Bitcoin on Keiser Report at $1. That's when we started recommending it at $1. The target was $100,000 for just the reasons I just gave, and that's still the target. But I think now, now we're seeing this banking system come under a tremendous amount of strain right now. And I think, as I've said, what has driven adoption is really bank failure and the need for a hard asset or a hard money like Bitcoin. So yeah, I think that's where we're at right now. We're going to see a big move coming up very soon, and everything is pretty much on schedule.
Wow. This is going to be great stuff, man. So how high do you think really Bitcoin can go right now in today's market?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So let's dig into that for a second, because
Hear from your financial expertise. So once again, everybody, we're live with Max Keiser, Your Crypto Daily Live. Max Keiser here with us live, talking Bitcoin talk tonight, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world.
So, put this in a global context for a second. So you ask that question to somebody in Venezuela, and they'll say, it doesn't really matter what the price is versus the Bolivar. It's the difference between life and death, because without Bitcoin, for a lot of people in Venezuela, they would have perished. You ask people in Argentina, they're experiencing hyperinflation. How's it doing against the Argentinian currency? Well, it's a matter of life and death. So picking a price points and all that, it's not really that important per se. And so when you get to the US dollar, in my view, the US dollar is going to go the way of the Venezuelan bolivar. It's every single. Let me say to this Red Planet. Let me throw a statistic out there. A couple of numbers. Every single fiat money, paper money that has ever been created, going back to the Roman times, has gone to zero. The average lifespan of every single paper money that's ever existed is less than 30 years. Wow. The longest running paper money today, the British pound, it's been around for a long time, but its purchasing power has dropped by 99.5%. So that is virtually zero. So the US dollar is on the verge of collapsing. So the price in dollars, there's no top. If you look at the price of the German Reichsmark during the Weimar Republic, there was a 1-for-1 exchange ratio to gold. By the time the hyperinflation wave kicked in, that went to $1 trillion.
Wow.
All right. So when you say what's the dollar, price from Bitcoin going forward, it's we're talking about a dollar collapse. So in dollar terms, it could go to $1 billion. It could go to $1 trillion. Because the dollar is going to become worthless. The question is, what is the value going to be in relation to gold, which is its closest competitor out there in the marketplace? That's a different question. And that's another, you can look at it. I would only look at it in those terms. What's Bitcoin price going to do in terms of the price of gold? Then that's more that's in keeping with the macroeconomic picture that we're talking about here. In dollar terms, it'll go to infinity because the dollar is going to zero, just like every other fiat currency in history.
Wow. And that's the thing. People don't understand that. Like, I know fiat currencies can only last for so long. And the fact that we're on borrowed time right now is remarkable to me, that we're still surviving right now the way we are.
Well, because the world reserve currency right now is the US dollar, and that is supported by the global central banks. And in the case of the US dollar, the support comes from the US military. So half of our tax dollars goes to the Pentagon. When any country anywhere decides to trade, for example, oil in something other than dollars, as was the case with Iraq, Libya, and others, the US military flies in and starts killing motherfuckers left and right. Okay, that the dollar is backed by violence. It's backed by violence. Paul Krugman in the New York Times wrote just a couple of months ago that he has faith in the US dollar because it's backed by men with guns. So that's the New York Times openly saying that the dollar has no value other than it's backed by violence. And so that's unsustainable. Essentially, that's unsustainable because the rest of the world has to accept that. And the rest of the world at this point is saying, no, we're not accepting that. So countries like China, Russia, Iran, and others are moving to the dollar. They've been dumping dollars in record numbers, but you don't hear about it because to pick up the slack, the central bank itself, the Federal Reserve Bank, is buying back its own dollars to make it look like there's a demand for their dollars. But global demand for dollars is crashing right now on the global markets. But
yeah, it is.
You don't see it. Right. You don't see it because the Federal Reserve is buying back and just parking it on its own balance sheet to hide the fact that nobody wants these dollars. And what are these countries doing? What are China and Russia and others doing? They're buying gold in record amounts because they're getting ready for the day when the dollar completely crashes. And in my opinion, I believe that shortly one of these countries will announce that they are taking a strategic position in Bitcoin along with their gold. And then it's game over for the US dollar, and you're going to see Bitcoin price absolutely skyrocket. So, the time, it's better to be a day early than a day late, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's only a matter of time before it all hits the fan anyway, and you have to decide what side of the world you're going to be on, or what side of the fence you're going to be on, the haves or the have-nots. And that's what the world is coming to right now. And I agree with you 100%. I want to read off a couple comments here for you, Mr. Keiser. It says, I got Mr. Ether. Hey Max, are you making any more? I'm scared to read that. Something about Gonzo videos. Um, Frank Dashwood, can't price gold against Bitcoin unless you want to talk about energy/resources committed to the effort of production. It's the value is that people are willing to kill you for the max. Kill them or kill you for them. Okay.
Okay, so for the first one, the Gonzo question, we made 10 episodes of Gonzo, and we have another show coming out this Sunday called To the Moon, which is a 10-part history of Bitcoin, including a lot of archival footage from the Keiser report. It's a show produced by Stacy Herbert, who's also the co-producer of the Keiser report. She produced this new show. It starts this Sunday. It's a 10-part series. It has all the big hitters in Bitcoin are in the series, and I've seen some of the shows so far. It looks fantastic. It might be the best show ever on Bitcoin that's anyone's ever seen, because it's actually produced by someone, Stacy Herbert and myself, who have been in Bitcoin since almost the beginning. So look for that. As far as gold and energy goes, the question, I'm not exactly sure what the question is, other than the amount of energy that goes into mining gold. There's energy that goes into mining Bitcoin. That's comparable. I'm working with a company right now in South Africa called Sun Exchange, and they are using solar energy to mine Bitcoin. And anyone can buy a solar panel in this business, in this company, for $10, and you can get solar energy converted into Bitcoin and sent to your wallet.
What?
Yep, every week. You're monetizing sunshine. You're monetizing the sun. So what they do is they go to let's say a school, and they just signed a contract for hundreds of schools in South Africa. And the deal is that the school will buy solar panels that are required to power the school. And they, at the same time, the company sells those panels to you, the investor. And by investor, I mean anybody with $10 can get started on this. And so you have a lease deal with the school. And part of the lease is that you receive a crypto income based on solar energy. And so far, they've been averaging about 11% a year return on these solar panels. So it's competitive with, let's say, a bond. If you're buying bonds or real estate, typically you're looking for getting maybe 5-6% or 8% return on a bond or a real estate investment. Here you're getting 10 and 11% return by leasing solar panels to schools, and it's all renewable energy. So Bitcoin is moving toward, it's going to be 100% renewable energy, in my opinion, before too long, because of these types of projects. It's very energy efficient. The mining can go where there's excess energy, where energy is being wasted. The government in Belarus just announced that they're going to co-locate a Bitcoin mining facility next to an atomic energy facility, a nuclear energy facility. So they're going to repurpose some of the atomic energy into Bitcoin mining. So there's a state actor now getting involved in Bitcoin mining. If they are successful, then other states will follow suit and say, we have to compete because we can't allow Belarus to have too many Bitcoin. So the United States or other countries will say, we want to get involved in Bitcoin mining. So the hash rate jumps by 5, 6, 700%, 1,000%, which means the price goes up by 1,000, 2,000, 5,000%. So the hash wars that are part of the protocol are played out on a state level. The price zooms higher. The Bitcoin protocol is pulling in state actors now. And that's what we want to see, because we want to get the hash rate continue to go higher and higher, which means the price goes higher and higher.
Man, this is awesome stuff. Thank you guys for everyone that's tuning in right now. Want to make a comment here from one of our Frank. Sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me. Frank Dashwood's been watching you for years. Thanks, man, for joining the show. I hope that you subscribe. If you guys have not subscribed as of yet, please hit that like button, share it. Let's stand in solidarity to the crypto. Share this channel tonight, afternoon, wherever you may be when you're watching this. Bitcoin believes, does Bitcoin have the potential to be co-opted by the same forces it was created to resist?
No, because the genius of the protocol is that everybody thinks they can dominate Bitcoin. And that's part of the genius, is the game theory aspect of it that drives the hash rate, therefore drives security, therefore drives price. So a few years ago, you had different countries decided they wanted to dominate mining. You had a huge mining operation in Georgia over there in Eastern Europe. Then you had huge mining operations in China with Bitmain, who also made chips run by Jihan Wu. And what happened to all those guys? They all crashed and burned. They all got essentially fooled by the protocol because they all think they can dominate the protocol, but none are able to dominate the protocol because there's a built-in game theory aspect to it. So when these bigger states come in, all that changes is that the hash rate goes up, but no one will be able to dominate. It's because it's perfectly balanced game theory equation that after years and years of computer scientists trying to solve this problem, this double spend problem, and they launched the product in 2009, and it's absolutely tearing the world apart, tearing the banking system apart, the central banking system apart, and it'll tear apart the model of the state. So central banks and the countries that they're affiliated with are going to be ripped to shreds by Bitcoin.
Man, I'm thinking that too. At the end of the day, I think Bitcoin is going to be the top dog, which everyone, if you're pretty smart out there and you understand what's going on, you'll understand that at the end of the day, fiat's going to crash and burn. And it's a sad thing, but the inevitable is coming. And I remember those were one of the things that used to scare me when I used to listen to you on the Alex Jones show, is that you guys would talk about that, man. Like, world collapse is coming. It's just only a matter of time. It's like we don't know the hour or the day, right? But we know it's going to happen. And just a matter of when. But you don't want to be like lost or caught wanting, or that person that's in a soup line begging for food and bread, right? It's
well, what it offers is individual sovereignty. So what does this mean? That means that as an individual, you have sovereignty over your money.
Right.
And right now with fiat money, that's not true. When you put money in the bank, you lose ownership of that money. The money is then owned by the bank. Okay, that's a fact. With gold, you have individual sovereignty, but the gold, it's somewhat easy for the state to confiscate gold. They did that in the U.S. in the 30s when FDR confiscated everyone's gold. Then they revalued the dollar versus gold, and it was illegal to own gold from then until the 1970s. So gold gives you individual sovereignty, but it's not really that convenient, and it's hard to manage. Okay, enter Bitcoin. Bitcoin gives you the ability that gives you portability, divisibility, fungibility, everything you would want in gold, but you could put any amount of money on a thumb drive. You could keep any amount of money in a Mind wallet. You have sovereignty over yourself. My friend Jameson Lopp, who's one of the best guys in the Bitcoin community by far, one of the earliest, and he writes extensively, and he's very attuned to building the base of users by reaching out to anyone out there. He makes the point that there will come a day when states who have been taxing us to death and confiscating our wealth to death are going to come begging to the Bitcoin community for a bailout, because we'll have the only hard money capable of bailing them out. And that's the whole equation of the social contract between the governed and the people doing the governing is going to flip. And those people that are currently in power will completely lose power. The people that have no power today, if you have Bitcoin, you gain all the power. Okay, I mean, this sounds ironic coming on Easter, Good Friday, right ahead of Easter, because I believe that's a biblical quote. Is that I'll paraphrase, but those who at the top will become the bottom, and those at the bottom will become the top. And that's what Bitcoin is going to do. And, if you've got Bitcoin, you've got individual sovereignty. Reaching out to the Black community, no one's coming to help the Black community.
Nope.
That's not going to happen.
Nope.
If anything, the prison industrial complex is brought slavery back because 80% of the population is Black, and they passed a law recently that companies can hire prisoners for money, for cheap, for wages.
Hey,
And
so
they pay, right? So slavery is back, my friend.
yes,
And,
it is. Oh man. Oh, Mr. Kaiser, we got to have you back on another show because just along that lines what you just said. But at the end of the day, it's like people don't understand. A lot of these customer service reps that you talk to on the phone are from prisons, and it's pretty crazy. And people wonder why they're so rude on the phone. They're getting paid like 20 cents an hour.
That's right.
To
because
do a $15 an hour
it's
job.
slavery.
Yeah, man.
Okay, you had slavery, then you had the Civil War.
Right.
But after the Civil War, you went right into Jim Crow,
Yeah.
which was like, which is slavery light, right?
Right.
And then you went and then the 60s come along, and you had, of course, the political activism of the 60s, but that brought us right into the current state of the prison industrial complex. So there's never been a time in America when Black population has not been enslaved to some degree. It just hasn't been,
Man, it's crazy. Listen, we're live with Max Keiser, breaking us down knowledge. You were asking me what's going on in Detroit. Stevie Eiserman is back in Detroit City. For those who don't care.
Really?
Yeah, he's the general manager now. They just hired him today. Praise God. It's Good Friday. Good Friday here with Max Keiser. You guys stand by. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Many coin developers require extensive infrastructure to maintain day-to-day operations, while hobbyists, investors, and traders require coin developers to do this securely and professionally. We are Spectre Security Coin, building a new kind of decentralized community.
Welcome back. We're live with Max Keiser. And for those that are just tuning in, we've touched on a little bit of everything today. We've talked about Bitcoin, world fiat collapse, wage slavery. It's going down here on the show. For those that are tuning in, make sure you guys, if you have not already, if you're just tuning in for the first time, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. And, of course, we love donations. It keeps us on the air. Whether you guys believe that or not, it costs a lot to maintain these shows. Hey, we're talking Bitcoin and the collapse of the world economy soon to come if we don't get ourselves together. Yes, Bitcoin believes it is called slave or wage slavery. I was going to say slave wavery. Go figure. And yes. And test firings, production runs, failures, the whole process. Thank you for Mahendra Sawant for subscribing. Shout out to Elliot Webb for joining the show. Haven't talked to you in a long time, man. I hope everything is well with you. All right. And I need to get that off the screen some way, somehow. All right, so finish breaking this down on knowledge there, Mr. Keiser. No, you're not polluting our feed, man. We appreciate you joining the show and tuning in with us on today. So you're thinking,
right?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's all you. We're learning from you today. No,
sir. Please, it's your show, Red Planet. I'm merely the guest.
So where do you think this is all headed? I mean, how long do you think we have until realistically, like worst case scenario, best case scenario?
Well, I don't think we have any time. I think it's already over with. Okay, because up until now, I've been talking about everything that's happening in the press that's fully verifiable, fully documented. But I can now go on to another tangent, another wavelength, another vector about stuff that is more hypothetical. And so allow me to do that.
Please do.
I think that, for example, the Bitcoin hash rate at 45 or 50 exahash a second, that's billions and trillions of calculations per second. This is actually the work of a parallel intelligence system other than our own as humans, and that the humans are messing up the planet so badly that we're being rejected. And so essentially the blockchain is hacking the human experience and will look at, if you, let me give you a good example, is that Bitcoin renders what I call Bitcoin derangement syndrome. A lot of people that get too close to Bitcoin go insane. I mean, I'll give you like Craig Wright, for example. He suffers from Bitcoin derangement syndrome. He's gone insane, like Colonel Kurtz in that film Apocalypse Now. My friend Matthew Mellon, who I knew a few years ago, he became a billionaire with crypto. He's now dead because he went insane. Roger Ver suffers from Bitcoin derangement syndrome. He's gone a bit loopy. John McAfee, okay, he suffers from Bitcoin derangement system. He's gone a bit loopy. But those are the lead indicators of a whole society being tricked out by Bitcoin as this parallel intelligence is kicking us off the planet. The humans are becoming a cancer on planet Earth, and we're being kicked off, essentially. And that's the future. That's the future, but it's not going to stop. Like we have no way to stop it at this point. So if you ask me what the future is human extinction. When Bitcoin gets to 100,000 per coin, there might not be any humans around to see it. We will be extinct because we have screwed up. You know, we have been given this incredible planet, you know, to live, and we turn it into a toilet bowl. We turn it into a shithole.
Man.
So now the planet is rejecting us. The parallel intelligence systems that surround us are rejecting us. We are a bad actor. That's the future. I hate a red planet. You know, it's a bit grim, I understand.
Right.
But if you ask me what the future is, that's the future.
Man, I agree. I mean, we're not very kind to our planet. It gives us so much in resources. We treat it like complete garbage, and we just continue to do it over and over and over again. And if you know, I personally believe we're running out of time. What's up, Ricky Thompson? Thanks for joining the show. Human extinction is the future. Yeah, it is. Like,
I mean, look at some of the economics. To give you another example, this idea of the economics of extinction is real. For example, fishermen in Japan, they are fishing blue tunas to extinction while putting them in freezers because they know that once they are finally extinct, the value of the tuna in the freezers will go up 500 or 600%. This is happening with rare species all over the world. They're being hunted to extinction so that the value of the parts and inventory, if you will, go up in value. So that's that kind of thinking spills over into society. Look at the opiate crisis. That's the economics of extinction. We have a couple of companies that push opium, that, you know, the white man's heroin, the white man's crack. They call it OxyContin, right?
yeah, it's that stuff.
They call,
man.
yeah. They say he's not a junkie. He's not a crackhead. He's got an opiate problem. That if you're white, if you're not white, then you're just a junkie slag. You go to prison, right?
Right.
But
right.
it's right because they ran out of black guys to put in prison. So now they're going into the white community and putting them in prison, getting them hooked on heroin, and 70,000 people died from heroin or opiate overdose last year. That's more than the U.S. lost in total casualties in the Vietnam War.
Oh,
We lost that last year. There's a genocide going on. That's the economics of extinction. And we're seeing it right now. So you ask me how much time we have left? We don't have any more time left.
This is it, huh?
We're out of time. Now, there's the crossover between that very kind of fatalistic dystopian future and where we are today would be, well, the reason these companies can get away with doing all this, the reason these individuals can get away with doing all this is because they can print money at will, and they can just fund their crime sprees by printing their own money. That's one of the benefits of having a fiat money, is if you're a Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, or you're in the drug business, you can just print a few $1 billion for yourself by buying back your own stock and making earnings go up artificially, paying yourself $1 billion and buying a legal system. So you have no accountability. That's all possible with fiat money. If we were to go to hard money, then this dystopian fatalistic nightmare might not happen, but it would require the world to immediately convert to hard money, Bitcoin, right away. That's why we're on a very important mission here. The sooner we get the world on Bitcoin and on hard money, the sooner we take away the weapons of mass financial destruction out of the hands of the financial terrorists like Jamie Dimon, Lloyd Blankfein, whoever's running Goldman Sachs right now. These are financial terrorists, and we need to take their weapons away, and their weapons are fiat money.
It's not the nuclear bombs we got to look out for. It's that person behind their desk pushing the button.
Exactly.
Man, that's heavy. It doesn't get any heavier than that. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's really what it's all about, right? Like, it's not, forget the bomb. The bomb is the after effect. It's the initial shock and awe, if you will, of somebody sitting behind a desk and pushing the button saying whether or not we're going to make the economy collapse or not by one massive crazy event. And we saw that when that. Yep.
In 2008, Wall Street was trying to get Congress to give them $750 billion blank check, no strings attached, to stop the carnage on Wall Street. And so they testified before Congress, and Congress had a vote, and they voted no. So that night, Goldman Sachs and the other guys on Wall Street crashed the stock market horribly. And the next day they got their money. No strings attached. That $750 billion in TARP money, by the way, eventually became $17 trillion.
That's absolutely nuts.
That's right. They use the markets to extort, and it's very easy to manipulate prices. You know, I designed you mentioned at the top of the show that I created the Hollywood Stock Exchange. At the heart of the Hollywood Stock Exchange is a technology that I invented called a virtual specialist technology. And it's a way to make markets with virtual securities with a virtual, in a virtual market making system. And I used it to create fair and orderly markets on a virtual exchange, but it was sold to a Wall Street bank and they use it to manipulate markets. So my technology is being used, as well as others, to completely destroy the global economy by manipulating markets. You know, you can create any price you want. The way, if you look at prices of stocks and bonds and currencies, people assume that there are buyers and sellers, and the result of those buyers and sellers is the price by interacting. But that's no longer how it works. The way it works now is the people at the major banks, they decide the price they want for something first, and then they fill in the trades later to get to that price.
It's not, man.
Okay, I'll give you a good example.
They're
okay,
dirty, man.
I'll give you an example. The U.S. Treasury market is trading at near 250-year lows, and yet the supply has never been higher. So if the supply has never been higher, or I should say the price has never been higher, while the interest rate has never been lower. But in the bond market, the interest rates are the inverse of the price. So the U.S. Treasury bond market has the highest price ever, even though the supply has never been higher.
Right.
And we see, and we know that because the yields are at historic lows. The yields on a 10-year Treasury in America, they've come off a little bit recently, but they were recently at a 240-year low, which means that they never in the history of America have yields been so low. Same thing in the United Kingdom. They recently got to a level that was since the Bank of England was created in 1692, I think, was the Bank of England was created. They have not seen yields as low in that entire 300-year history. And that's because the prices are determined first, and then the trades are filled in later. Then if you look at the gold market, demand for gold has been historically high. Central banks are buying more gold than they have in 50 years, and yet the price is stagnant. So again, the supply and demand are not at work in these markets. You see it in the gold market. If supply and demand were operating in the gold market, the price would be $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 an ounce based on demand. But because the prices are not allowed to trade freely, they're trading at a bogus price. Same thing with the treasury bond market. Same thing with the dollar. Same thing with every fiat money. It's all fiat money. The only hard money in the system is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is emerging as going to be the escape hatch when the system blows up. That's where people are going to go. That's the only life raft in the global economy. There's only one life raft, and there's over $60 trillion, give or take, in investable assets held by money managers and investment funds around the world, by people who just are saving money and have investing money. That's 60 trillion. So the market cap of Bitcoin right now is, what was the latest market cap on Bitcoin? I think it's 100, it's just like 70 billion.
93 billion.
Okay, 93 billion. So that's 93
sick.
billion market cap versus a $60 trillion worth of cash looking for a home. Okay.
Man.
So something's got to give. And that something is the price. The price has got to give. The price is going to go to accommodate that all that money escaping the sinking ship of the fiat money world.
It's got to go somewhere.
Exactly.
It's like when rats vacate the ship as it's getting ready to go down.
Yeah, they're all jumping ship. A lot of it will get lost. But even if 10% of the money makes it into Bitcoin, the price is going to be a lot higher. Obviously, that's what we're going to see, because they can't manipulate the price. It's going to reflect the true price of real supply and demand. And the real demand is in the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. That's the real demand once this second leg of the global financial crisis starts to hit, and it's hitting now.
All right, so we got somebody chiming in. Thanks, Sedzi, for number one, for watching the show. Regal Randy, thank you for watching the show. Ricky Thompson is chiming in with you, Mr. Keiser, stating that BTC can't be world currency as there is not enough to go around. 21 million max, probably 19 million max taking loss. BTC, another crypto needs to be used. Lots of max coins, fast transaction. He has BTC himself. What do you have to say about that?
Well, it's not about 21 million Bitcoin. It's about 21 quadrillion Satoshis. Satoshis are the basic unit of a Bitcoin, and there's 21 quadrillion of them. So, and that's plenty. So the price of a Satoshi, which is substantially less than a penny right now per Satoshi, will go to a penny or a nickel or 10 cents or $1. There's plenty of. It's infinitely divisible. It's divisible to tens of thousands of places. It's the idea that there's not enough to go around is false, because it's it can be divided in an infinitely divisible basis. That's one of the absolute beauties of Bitcoin. That's why it makes it money, just like gold. When Aristotle described what would make the perfect money 2,500 years ago, he said it had to be portable, desirable, fungible, and divisible. So gold, right? You can slice gold up into 1,000 pieces, right? And every single slice has exactly the same properties every other slice.
Right.
Right. It's divisible. Same thing with Bitcoin. You divide one Bitcoin into its Satoshis, and each Satoshi has the same properties as every Bitcoin. So this idea that there's not enough to go around is absolutely false. It's not a consideration. It doesn't there's no reason to think that. If you have one Satoshi, that's you're part of the resistance. Bitcoin is the currency of resistance. And if you even have, $10 in Bitcoin, you're part of the resistance. You're part of the solution. You're part of beating the banks back from their attempt to turn back the hands of time back to feudalism, neo-feudalism. In feudalism, you had lords had 99% of the wealth, and the serfs had 1% of the wealth. I'm using rough numbers, obviously, but yes. You get the point. The global banking system right now, the concentration of wealth by the top 1% is at historic highs, and it will continue to get even more concentrated. And the middle class will continue to get destroyed. The poor will continue to get poor. The prisons will keep building prisons.
Yeah, they will.
And right, so because the goal is to have to bring back feudalism, to repudiate the Enlightenment, to repudiate um, free market capitalism. All that stuff's going to go away. We're going to be back to lords and serfs unless we start to remove their weapons. And their number one weapon is fiat currency. As you say, if they can just push a button and cause all kinds of mayhem, it's just like dropping an atomic bomb. And that's exactly right.
Yeah, but the buildings will still be standing, but everyone's pocketbooks will be empty.
Everyone's pocketbooks will be as I said, every fiat money in history has gone to zero. So in the U.S., we are fortunate because we're the empire. We're the ones dropping the bombs to get the cheap oil. Yep. We're the ones that outsource the labor to China, so that our flat screen TV is $200 instead of $8,000 or higher, because we get all the benefits. We live like kings. Even the people who, compared to really poor people that are living on $1 a day, those people are really poor. Americans are still, a poor American is still typically would have access to a car. They can buy a little gas. They can get, they can get something to eat, right? They're poor, but compared to somebody that's living in Haiti or, other parts of the world where they're literally eating dirt, right? Those are really poor people. And that's what they want. That's what they're looking for.
Dirt cookies.
Dirt frickin' cookies. That's what they want.
Yeah. That's not good. It's not good for the teeth.
By the way, in Haiti, when they were eating dirt, guess what they were surviving on? The lucky ones were digging around looking for little grains of gold. So gold. I tell you a funny story. It's interesting. When gold was at $2,000 an ounce, there were stories about how people in New York on 47th Street, which is the gold and diamond district, were able to find on the street flecks of diamonds and flecks of gold and make $200, $300, $400 a day just by picking up gold and diamond flecks on the actual sidewalk. Yeah. Which is kind of interesting. It shows you that the value of hard money doesn't go away. Nobody never turns down gold. You'll never go into a situation where you need to buy something and the person you're buying it from won't take gold. Everyone takes gold because it's universally accepted as a medium of exchange, as a store of value. Gold is money. Bitcoin is money. When I was in England a few years ago, I was in a cab and I went to pay for the cab, and I gave the guy a £5 note that I got in Scotland. Mm-hmm. And it said, Scotland had like the Edinburgh Castle or whatever. And he wouldn't take it because he said, that's not English money. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's your stinking queen right here, her photo, right? It's English. What do you mean you're not going to take it? He said, no, I don't take that Scottish money, mate. Oh. Right. So so for this guy, that £5 note that I was holding up was worth zero. It's worth zero, and it is worth zero. There's no value to paper money. It's only valuable if you accept it. If you don't accept it, it has no value. That's not true with gold. If you don't accept it, there are millions of people that will, and that's true with Bitcoin now.
Wow, and that's just what it is. My biggest concern is that one day we're gonna wake up and our money's worth nothing, and not from the fact that we already know it's worth nothing, but that we wake up one day and it's like super hyper inflated, and there's bread lines outside the grocery stores on every block in every corner. That's my biggest concern, and I know it's a day that's coming, and whether we like it or we don't like it, it's the thing that's coming, and we just got to be prepared. I feel like Alex Jones right now, but you know what I mean.
Well, no, once you start talking about the possibility of money value being destroyed, it's easy to then go down into the rabbit hole and starting to sound paranoid. And but if you just look at the history for a second, the fact is that, as I've said, there's a good reason to be paranoid. Or as Andy Grove, who was a multi-billion-dollar founder of Intel chips, once said that, if you're not paranoid, you're foolish. Paranoia sometimes is the way to survive. And the fact is that like I just keep saying it, paper money has no value. I mean, look at in India, they decided one day, and this happened within the last year, that everybody's paper money was worthless and they were going to swap it out for new paper money. And there was massive chaos for weeks and weeks and months because the government just on a whim said all the money you hold is worthless. So, I mean, the government, they could clearly, if in fact there's a huge global crisis again, and why wouldn't there be? Because the debt has never been higher. The debt levels in all these countries continues to zoom higher. At the very least, what will happen is global community of countries will get together and decide that they need to reset the global economy, that all these currencies need to be reset against something of value, and they'll reset it against gold. So gold will go from $1,300 an ounce. They'll have to reset it to $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000 an ounce just to make sense of the global currency grid, so that the yen and the dollar and the Chinese yuan and the euro, they all can trade again. Again, if that happens, it's great for Bitcoin once again because it's hard money. It's hard money. There's no way out of this mess that the central banks have created. Their solution is always to print more money, and the money is backed by violence. And so they have if the world at some point is not going to accept that equation, they're not going to accept violence. They're not going to accept it. And so it can sound paranoid, but there is historical precedent to it. It's very difficult to make a case that suddenly the only way that this would work is if the U.S. economy were to generate enough GDP, gross domestic product, in the next 5 years to pay down $22 trillion in debt. Yeah. Now we already know that that if 100% of our incomes went to debt payment, it would take decades. That's at 100%. The tax at 100%. They wouldn't pay it off for decades. So somehow the U.S. economy, the GDP, is going to go from 17 trillion or so. It's going to go up by against all other currencies and countries enough to pay off 20 trillion in debt. It's just the math doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So they don't even try anymore. They're just printing more debt and opening more prisons. And so, unless you want to end up in prison, if you want to maintain some kind of sovereignty, then you must own Bitcoin for the same reason you would own gold. And that's it. That's the full story. I mean, that's where we're at.
I want to read a couple things here from you, and we're going to be getting ready to shut this puppy down. I don't want to take up too much of your time, Mr. Keiser. We thank you for joining the show on this afternoon. Want to read a couple comments here. Frank Dashwood, if more people mined, more people would have it to use as money. There was one interesting. One Satoshi could be worth $100 one day. Not only would adoption increase, but with the price, because more people would understand what is going into mining Bitcoin. And Namdi Harris, thank you for joining the show. I believe in the NYC coin currently. NYC coin is 20 times faster than Bitcoin and 5 times faster than Litecoin. It's already accepted by retailers worldwide. It's virtually fee-free to circulating supply, about 134 billion. I thought the same thing about when New York coin first came out in the very early stages. What better coin to use than a NYC coin? I mean, because it's such a big place down there, huge city. NYC coin is used at a lot of places, a lot of shops already locally in New York too. So you got a good point there. It's a mineable open source POW coin, a lot like Doge and Litecoin. Frank, NYC coin's been around for a little bit of time. It's been around actually since, I believe, 2014. Word up, Africa been being raped of resources. Dirt cookies. Someone laughed at that. Elliot, internet doesn't take gold. True statement. They do not take gold. Is this it? 22.
False.
You said false. Okay.
That's false.
So big.
You can get a debit card backed by gold and use it on the internet.
Oh, okay. I need to pick your brain on that. That's good to know. Heath Schrader or Schroeder. Hopefully, I'm saying your name correctly. You still have to have your money, but it will still have no value. Is this it? 22 Bitcoin SV is gonna steal Bitcoin's network effect.
False.
False. Okay. We're live. Max Keiser. Good God, I gotta get my words right. Live with Max Keiser. Your Crypto Daily Live. Bitcoin believes black and brown people are gonna survive. Poverty, resilience. That's I can't
True.
disagree. I can't disagree with that at all.
True. I won the John Brown Award, by the way, at Howard University last year.
Really?
For my contribute. Yes, I gave a speech, and I plan to go there back again. It was sponsored by a group called BitMari. They're trying to be a Pan-African Bitcoin solution. It was one of the companies that I've been supporting from their beginnings, and I won the John Brown Award. And I've been saying this from the beginning that economic sovereignty for the Black community can be achieved. Well, certainly when Bitcoin was $1,
Man, that would have been
that was
game changer.
That was the way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still a good idea. It's still a good idea. It's still a good idea. I'll go anywhere. Put me in. I'll come to Detroit.
Oh man,
and
come on, hang out. We have a good time.
Get a group of folks together, and I'll do 50-minute stage show. Ranting and raving for 15 minutes. Get everyone you want. In a room, and by the time that hour is up, we'll have a whole room full of converts to the Bitcoin revolution. It's the currency of the resistance. It's everything that Malcolm X wanted in a coin. It's everything that the Underground Railway promised in a coin. It's everything that MLK Jr. wanted in a coin. It is the ultimate emancipation, is Bitcoin. Emancipation from fiat money. And I want emancipation too. We're in the same fucking prison.
Yeah.
You, me, and everyone else is in the fiat money prison.
Yeah.
We all want emancipation. We all got to own Bitcoin. Let the resistance start in Detroit. Fill up, the stadium. Let's get this revolution going.
My man, I love you. You are my brother from another mother officially right now. I want to read off some more of these comments. PWN Network. Russia is going to try to make their own internet firewall like China. If this happens, they can slow down the rate and growth of miners of Bitcoin. DJ Jaiko, Rack Desert is the future. I don't know quite what that is. Give us some more insight on that. Bitcoin believes, again, every dystopian movie being made about the future is a crystal ball. I agree with that, man. Especially after watching this freaking movie I was watching the other day called Maze Runner. That's an interesting movie. How that going to work when U.S. only income is student loans? That's funny. All right, here you go, Frank. Namdi Harris just broke you off some info. 153 merchants. They're doing their thing. Ricky Thompson, thanks for doing this live stream, Max. We appreciate you. Yes, I appreciate you too. Ask Max about Veritasium. Yes. And we want to know, Johnnyboy Crypto has a question for you too about what is your favorite project that's going on out there right now? And can you see a mass exodus from alts back in the big BTC because of the drama between BCH SV and BCH ABC drama?
Yeah, because they have Bitcoin derangement syndrome, and it just drives people insane, and they're all going to end up back in Bitcoin. That's where everything, all roads lead back to Bitcoin. Any altcoin you mention, it all eventually leads back to Bitcoin. It's an interesting side project for a time being, but it all goes back to Bitcoin because it's a black hole that's just engulfing everything in its path. And as far as the projects currently that I like, I have Stacy, my wife, and I have a venture capital fund called Heisenberg Capital, and we invest in startups. And we are investing in Casa Hodl, which is a storage solution for Bitcoin. With Jameson Lopp is involved with that. We are investing in Bit Refill, which is a merchant card essentially to allow people to use Bitcoin to buy stuff. So these projects, not only do we, talk about them, but we invest in them and we help them find funding and financing. We're really trying to get this ecosystem, dynamic and growing. So those are just two projects. There's another project out in San Francisco called Azteco. So this is Bitcoin vouchers. It's run by some really smart guys, and they essentially any merchant can set up a little machine in their store, and you can just buy Bitcoin directly. Give them $20, and they'll give you a coupon worth $20 of Bitcoin.
Wow. Okay.
Yep, you can just stick that in your wallet. Yep.
If you want, send me those links and I'll put them in the chat real quick, the live chat.
Yes.
I will try to do that. I will endeavor to do that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so have me at we'll come to Detroit and we'll tear the roof, off.
Yes. Sound like you're a
we'll get folks, man. We'll get the folks. We'll get the people.
The
we'll
Church
the people.
The Church of
Max
Bitcoin.
Keiser.
That's right.
Yep.
The Church of Bitcoin. Hey, if the Church of Love Supreme is a great record jazz musician.
John Coltrane.
John Coltrane. He's got a church. The Church of John Coltrane.
There's some weird churches out here that I heard about that have been quite fascinating to hear about.
Yeah, John. I mean, Love Supreme is a totally spiritual record. I mean, he goes off on a vector into the parallel love cosmos, and you can feel it. It takes you right there.
Yeah.
If you go with John to his special place in the parallel love universe on Love Supreme, it's a gift. Everyone should listen to that today. That on there as their Easter gift. Listen to Love Supreme by John Coltrane as a gift to yourself.
So, in the words of Prince and Under the Cherry Moon, everybody needs to go to the record store and buy a John Coltrane album. It would be quite enlightening to your brain and your audio senses. Let it just take over your mind.
Little red Corvette. La, la,
Oh
la,
God,
la,
I can't believe
la,
he's dead to
la,
this
la.
day, man. It still messes with me. All right,
Yeah.
listen. Bitcoin
What?
Police, economic sovereignty. That's a great offer Max just made. 10 toes. And he's sure to bring those panels to AZ for mining. I agree.
Don't
100%.
forget the black lesbians now.
Oh wow. Okay, that's different, man.
We want them at our event.
Yeah.
I want to be introduced by 50 black lesbian chicks.
Oh, sweet Lord. Bitcoin Police. What about Veritasium? Are you familiar with that project?
Yes, I am. It's undergone several iterations. And what's happening currently is I believe they're trying to do something with gold, but I kind of lost track with what's going on with it at the moment. So I cannot comment on that, with any updated information.
Okay. 2 coins, Max, I want you to check out when you get a chance in your free time. 3 coins. What are 2 sponsors that we have here? X42 Coin and X42.tech. I really want you to meet that team there, Gabriel and Mike 500 on their team. And then our other sponsors here, it's Spectre Security Coin. And that's SpectreSecurity.io. 2 up-and-coming projects right now that are going to be pretty crazy and major, what they're doing. One deal has like a side chain, I believe, with some really crazy stuff. You can build anything on their blockchain, from video games to, if you want to implement, I believe, at some point in time in the future.
Reality.
Augmented reality.
Lot to do with AR, yeah.
Yeah, and that project's going to be huge. And then Spectre Security is dealing with literally protecting the internet and protecting the blockchain through their project. And
I feel safer already.
Digi Warfare and his team there are amazing people. So those 2 coins, check them out. And then another one of our community partners we have there with this Leisure Coin. They have their own exchange coming out. And
well, I like your sponsors better than Alex Jones. He's got all those remedies for white guys that can't get their dicks up.
Oh man, I can't do this. Mr. Keiser, you're a fascinating individual, and I can't wait till you come to Detroit one day and we can hang out.
Yeah, man, it's us in Crypto Blood. Crypto Blood.
Crypto Blood. Shout out to Crypto Blood, man. And this thing has got going on. We got to have him back on the show one day. He's going to probably get a kick out of it when he sees the show, and he's like, oh, Max Keiser's on the show. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's-
You know, I met Crypto Blood in Miami, right? He comes over to me, smoking a cigar. He goes, "Hey Max, I really like your show. I got this podcast." And then there was this long beat, and I'm like, I figured he was going to invite me on the podcast. And so I go, "So do you want me on the podcast?" Hell no, no. I'm just chilling. I'm like, damn, I like this guy.
Oh man, you know we were 1999. Go Digi Go, yes. People are gonna need augmented reality when they look outside and see the damage. Yeah, you know that's an interesting concept, and that's a
matrix within
really
a
good
matrix.
point. What'd you say, Johnny?
A matrix within a matrix.
Yeah, I mean, literally. I didn't think about that, man. That's where augmented reality is going to come into play, and virtual reality is going to be a need because of all the dirt destruction that's going to be outside of our doors. For those,
Yeah,
that are
but think
still here.
about it. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it for a second. I'll continue this another time. You know, we'll continue to be continued.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do
Yeah,
we'll do another session. My wife is calling me. If I don't get in there and have dinner with her, she's probably going to beat me. So
no,
I
we
better
don't need
go.
that. Hey,
Yeah, I
listen.
better go.
Listen, we
Later.
had the legendary Max Keiser. Thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate you,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
All right, bro.
Boys and girls. All right,
See
sir.
ya.
Thank you. We'll get you back on another time and talk some crazier stuff for sure.
Yeah, all right. We'll make Joe Rogan sound like some plain white, no good newsman from the 1970s. How about that?
Oh man. Okay.
Sounds
yeah.
great.
Whatever works, man.
All right. See ya.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Keiser.
Bye.
Hey, bye. Hey, listen, for those who just joined in for the first time, you missed a heck of a show. We went on a little early today. Thank you, Heath. Appreciate that. Yeah, Max, he's a funny dude, man. I got to hang out with him. Thank you guys for joining the show. Listen, we love your donations. You got the QR codes up there on the screen. Send us some love. Sow a seed into the Your Crypto Daily show.
The Bitcoin Church.
The Bitcoin Church, that's right. Be a covenant partner with us, brother. Lay your hands on the screen and let the vibes flow. No, so
We'll
into the show.
definitely set something up. Get a hold of Crypto Blood and get a conference going. Get
Yeah,
Max
man.
up here.
That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Sell out a nice little.
Get some of the local food trailers to come up and serve some food. Get some music and.
El Guapo. That's all I got to say. 2 words. Yep. El freaking Guapo is the best burrito taco food truck in Metro Detroit. My lord. Okay. That was free. No giveaway. What should we do for the giveaway, Mr. Ether?
Go to ycdhub.info.
What you got, Johnny? And you got some free money there? Rockin' Range.
Well, we always rocking and raining in the Rockin' Rain chat.
So check it out, Mr. Ether. Go to the Rockin' Range chat. Heath Schrader. You want that X42. Man, we all want that X42. I want some X42. We'll see what we can make happen, man. Bit Units, Token, thanks for subscribing. We love you. Shout out to you for subscribing. Listen, join us next week. Man, we may have another pop-up show for you. Who knows, Johnny? Johnny surprised me today. This was amazing. Totally caught me off guard today with this one, but I was ready for it. I was happy. I love you guys. We love you guys here. I know. Mr. Ethan, we're going to look out for you, man. We're going to get you some crypto. Go to the ycdhub.info. That's right. One love. Peace. As we say it here on the show, shout out to our partners, Adam White Speaks, Fearless Girl Boss, Cracking Crypto, The Lone Wolf. Oh! Shout out to you, man. Leisure Coin. Of course, our corporate sponsors here, X42. Check them out at x42.tech. For those who have X42 wallets, it is imperative that you update your wallet today. Make sure you look for that today. Check out their website. Check them out on Discord, GitHub, x42.tech. Of course, corporate sponsors, SpectreSecurity.io. We love you guys there. Keep up the good work. And keep it real.
Don't forget one thing. Don't forget one thing. The number one most important thing that was discussed today
Yes.
is awareness. Spread the message of Bitcoin. If you're an investor of Bitcoin, if you're in the crypto community, it's your job to educate everyone around you and spread the message of crypto and Bitcoin and what it means for our future, kids' future, and the greatness that it's all about. So
That's what it's all about, man. Okay. I was just informed. For those listening, make sure if you have Spectre Security Wallet, XSPC, there's an update going on with the wallet. Thank you, Heath, for that wonderful enlightenment. Anytime, Namdi. We'd love to get those guys on the show, NYC. Talk some crypto with those guys. I know you guys went through a bit of a shake-up a little bit. More power to you guys. Hey, listen, as we say on the show, love, peace, and crypto. We will see you guys on next week. Happy Good Friday, Easter, Resurrection, whatever you believe. We'll see you guys on the other side. Until next time, we are out. Bam!